touching your skin. The love is right. Let them have their time. And I have this notion, let's keep these wheels in motion. In motion. And it's worse you for what I did not know. Did you think I would let it go? Oh no. And in time, yes, I'll think it's absurd. But until then, you'll leave your words. Well, lay on. Now it's time to defend your lies. Lies you've been feeding me all this time. And will you reoffend? Oh, darling. You say that you are innocent, but your words, they seem irrelevant, but still play on. Now it's time to defend your lies. Lies you've been feeding me all this time. And will you reoffend? Oh, darling. Oh, you have reached your lover's end. No more. Will we make pretend like we something to fight for? Oh. We had nothing to fight for. We had nothing to fight for. We had nothing to fight for. We had nothing to fight for.
Good evening, race fans, and here we are for the SIMSA Endurance Challenge, Lobby 2. It is the finest in split class racing. The GR1s and the GR3 cars both on track together. You may have been looking for Lobby 1 earlier. Unfortunately, Lobby 1 had a mass exodus of drivers for some strange reason. It looks like a lot of people forgot to turn up, but hopefully their problem is now solved. I'm turning my mic down a little bit because the level was a little bit too high. Hello, how you doing, Nikki? What is going on with my mic today? There we go. Is that better? Who knows? There we go. Got to mess my levels a little bit. Right, so Lobby 2 is looking a lot fuller than Lobby 1 was 6 o'clock this evening. For those of you expecting my beautiful apprentice, Kruentis, he was going to do this lobby and I was going to do the previous one, but he's got some stuff going on at home and I didn't do the earlier one anyway, so I might as well do this. What's up, Millsy boy? How you doing? Qualifying start in 5 minutes time. What will happen is the GR3 cars will go out first. They will do their qualifying. They will then come in, and then the GR1s will go out and obliterate their times in the much faster cars. Now, today we are at Laguna Seca in Monterey, California, USA. We were there last week as well, of course, with Daytona, but we moved to California for the Laguna Seca Raceway, which is an awesome racetrack. 3.6 kilometers, which is more than that in miles, can't remember what it is. 11 corners, the key corner being the corkscrew, which is incredibly tricky. You've got a mass elevation change both in and out of that corner. We will do a drive-by. This is not LA, this is California. It will do a drive-through in a minute on board with one of the GR3s. They're going slow enough that we can actually see the corners. Shall we have a little look at what happened last week here in Lobby 2? So there we go. Woolley was the race winner for GR1s with D. Roberts coming in second. Third place was Justin, who also got the fastest lap of the race. D. Roberts losing out the lead from pole position to Woolley, who, let's face it, Woolley spun on turn 3 at lap 1. And was plumb last behind everybody, all the GR3s, everybody, and sided his way through the field. Awesome drive from him at Daytona to take the win last time out. In the GR3 category, it was Ridders that won in the end from Classy Motorsport. Classy was looking really solid for that win for most of that race. Ridders just kept the pressure on and ended up taking the win in the Lexus. The Lexus being a very strong car at Daytona, as we know from the 24 Hours of Daytona not so long ago in the GTEC Championship. Arcanite came in third, Classy with that fastest lap. Arcanite was actually on pole, so dropped a couple of places over the course of that race. Few more in the lobby today. I wonder if we've got anyone from the earlier race that wants to still go, that's going to jump in. We've got a field of 12, which is certainly better than the 7 that rocked up for Lobby 1 earlier on. In terms of qualifying, of course, we know the 919s are going to be incredibly quick. In terms of the GR3 class, it's the 911 turbo's not going to, the 911 RSR turbo's not going to be too shabby around here. I like the AMG for this track. It's quite a quick car, and I like its acceleration capabilities. The Corvette, another good car. Problem with the Corvette, of course, is that it wants to kill you every time you put on the brakes or the accelerator. Again, we've got that Lexus RCF, Smithy in that one. I don't see others. Ridders is in the RCF as well, so he's looking to make it 2 from 2 in that RCF. Roberts will be looking to make up for losing out to Woolley last time out. He's in that 919 hybrid, so it'll be a good battle between those two to see how those two get on. Classy as well. Classy did really well but couldn't hold on, so he'll be looking to repair that damage from last week. Also, we've got Sauber Venom. He's in that McLaren 650S. It used to be, for me, one of the best GR3 cars on Gran Turismo. Woohoo! How you doing, Justin? But yes, a couple of updates down the line, and it's bang average again. Still a lovely car to drive, and it's quite unforgiving. I think in terms of the MR cars, between the Porsche and the McLaren, I think the Porsche probably just edges it. But in terms of being easier to drive, particularly over a long period of time, I think I would always go with the McLaren. I always feel like you've got a little bit more control over that car, but then I can't drive, so who knows. Right, qualifying will start shortly. J-Dog, the American driver in that 919 hybrid. I can't wait to look at his livery, because even the small picture of his livery, should we have a look at it? That is loud, very, very loud. There's a lot going on that car by the looks of things. It could just be that the livery, the picture there makes it look worse than it is, but from here it looks like someone threw up on a car. But we'll have a look. It might not be that bad. But yeah, looking forward to seeing the liveries. So yeah, we're just waiting for qualifying to begin. Shall we have a look at the race calendar? So we were at Daytona last week, as you know. Laguna Seca today. Next week we're at one of my favourite racetracks, into Lagos for 1 hour, and then it's on to Le Mans for an hour and a half. I always feel an hour and a half at Le Mans isn't long enough. It's one of those racetracks so you could just, I would happily drive it for hours and hours and hours and hours. And in fact, there is a driver I know of, a Black Flag driver, who during a charity race at Le Mans put in, I think, 14 of the 24 hours, or was it 18? It was 14 or 18 of the 24 hours. Didn't do it in one go, did it in a couple of stints, but yeah, absolutely legendary performance from him. Then we're on to the Nürburgring. The Nürburgring even, as it's written there. Red Bull Ring follows that, then on to Spa. Moving to June, we've got Monza, the Barcelona Catalunya, Watkins Glen, Suzuka, Fuji, and then we finish back here in the United States at Road Atlanta for an hour and a half. That's going to be an interesting race. Right, so qualifying is about to start, so I think the easiest thing to do is get cracking with some qualifying. I don't know who it is at first, but this is them going on board. Let's get some deeds up, shall we? Get rid of that. Right, it's Gikela. Yeah, maybe it's not a bad series, mate. To be honest, I think they're doing it again in September. And to be fair, it's only round 2, and there are some spaces in lobby 1 if Sector 7 want to get involved. If you drop me a Discord message and I'll send you the Discord link, mate, and you can get involved. But yeah, a nice bit of multi-class. Do love that for you, but we're going to do that one for the purposes of this circuit. You really see the elevation coming up the hill there towards the corkscrew, and then down into this sweeping left-hander. It's one of the trickiest corners in motor racing, I think, particularly on online motor racing. Apart from every corner at, I was going to say also Finnish, I didn't mean also Finnish, I mean Autopolis, because it's an absolute dog shit track. Right, so this is an important corner, lining up your lap, because you've got a long run down to turn 1 through that penalty line on the power, nice and early, flicking through these gears under the WeatherTech sign, across the line, and down the hill you go. Let the car drift to that right hand side on the brakes around that second marker board. The apex on the first turn not so important as this one here. That's where the apex is important. Get on that power, let it drift across to the left hand side, little dab of brake just to get the rotation in that car. Then you're heading down under the Cooper tyre side for this really quick right hander. Little lift is all you need, get you around that corner. You can abuse those curves on the way out up to the Mother's Performance polished side, again down to 3rd gear, get that turned in, again using all the road on your exit. You start to climb up the hill under the VP sign. You've got this left down the hill, which is that's just a lift and that's it. You've got loads of runoff there. This is where it gets tricky, really high elevation up the hill. You can't see the apex, you're braking blindly, turning it to the left hand side, clipping the apex. You can't see your exit either because it dips away from in front of you like nothing. You've got to do that corner on memory more than anything else. particularly if the lights change and your brake markers change. You've got to do it purely from muscle memory. You can't see the entrance or the exit. Wayne and Way Out are blind. Final corner, get this right, get a good run down to the line, and you just may have yourself on pole position. And that is 2 times on the board. We've got one from Classy. Nearly won the race last week, didn't quite make it. Classy with 122.2 to get him on pole. Joined on that front row by Kayla. I don't know if are the car sounds too loud or too quiet for you? They're very loud. Turn them down a bit. Yeah, that's a very solid lap. Is that a better balance? Because they were very loud in my ear. I didn't know they were. There was an update to my software today, and it's absolutely fucking everything. Right, pain in the arse. Right, let me mute that one. That's better. Right, so Fast Portuguese lives up to his name. He's, I'm assuming he's Portuguese. The flag doesn't say so, but if he is Portuguese and he is quick, that's a good time. A 1:22.0. I wouldn't be surprised. And we've lost Salvation. Hazlitt is gone. I'm hoping he can get himself back for the race. Maybe we have to set it by host because he's missed out on qualifying now. So past Portuguese, fast Portuguese even in the AMG. I said the AMG was going to be pretty good round here, and he's proved that by putting in a 1:22. There is a sub 20. There is a sub 22 in this though. 1:21 high. Definitely in qualifying for the GR3s. That is, if the GR1s are doing that, they're going pretty freaking slowly. Classy's still on that front row. He's got Gokella knocked down to row 2 with Smithy Jr. for company. Ridders winner last time out. Currently in 5th in that Lexus. The Lexus was a very, very good car at Daytona. It's not a shabby car, but it's not going to be the best car here at Laguna Seca. It just does. I don't think it's got it's going to have the prowess of the Porsche or the AMG. Arcanite in the Corvette, American muscle, American track. You would have thought this would be all over it like a rash on a cheap whore, but I don't know if the Corvette is strong enough in this field. And then of course we're going to have the GR1s after. So these 6 are your 6 GR3 competitors. 1:24.04 Arcanite, 2 seconds off the pace at the moment. Certainly some time to find there. He's found 10th and a half already. A couple more sectors to go. Can he find a couple more tenths? We need to find almost a second. He's a second off the back of Ridders at the minute. Ridders looking pretty darn racy. So definitely some time to find there. So across the line, has he improved? Yes, he has, but not by much. Only 4/10 of a second. We've lost another one as well. Oh, that's a shame, isn't it? Hopefully they come back though. There is a big question mark over lobby stability in GT7. I think there's a couple of major factors with it. One I've discovered is that if you turn off visible damage, it gives you a massive improvement because there's a lot less information to send. The cars basically stay as they are regardless of whether they're damaged or not, which I suppose makes sense. But also it's the amount of PS4s in the lobby. The more PS4s there are, the worse the lobby quality is, because essentially it's got to dumb everything down for the lowest common denominator. I personally am a big advocate of them switching off PS4 access. It was we know it was developed as a PlayStation 5 game. They decided to make it backwards compatible because of the issue with selling enough consoles. They hadn't sold enough consoles at that stage, so they wanted to make sure they had a bigger audience. But I think we're at the stage now where the PS5 is readily available. Most people can get one now. They're not even incredibly expensive anymore. So yeah, definitely I think we are in a position where we should be turning off the PS4. I apologise for all the cheering. My son was he went out on Friday night after work and arrived home at 10 o'clock last night. Completely rat-assed. So everyone upstairs is just cheering because they haven't seen him yet, because he's been in his pit. Yeah, so I think it's time to trade in that PS4, folks. buy yourself a PS5 and let's convince PD to switch off PS4 compatibility, at least for maybe just for online. If you want to race, offline, then you can do so on your PS4. But I think online needs to be PS5 only, and I think there should also be a minimum connection quality, because so often you see people in the lobbies with a piss poor connection, and it has an effect on everybody in that. So yeah, so if you're on your McDonald's Wi-Fi or 4G hotspot in it, then maybe you should be somewhere else. Or alternatively, they just spend a bit more money on their lobbies. There we go. But it is what it is. Right, so not much time left for qualifying for these guys. Smithy Jr. has done the sub 22. I thought it was there. It was there. He's done a 21.590. Fast Portuguese has also gone sub 22 with a 21.6. Putting those two on that front row. Classy, still not on the front row, but with a 121.6 is banging on the door. Just 9/1000ths of a second separate him and that front row at the moment. Gikela, and I don't care if that's not how it's pronounced. You haven't contacted me directly and given me a phonetic way to say it, so that's what you're getting. Gikela, whatever. You get what you get. But either way, they're on row 2 with a 22.4. Still want to go sub 21 there. Ridder's not sub 21 either. Salvo Venom is back in the room. Mr. Hazlitt is back in the room, but is going to miss out on qualifying. We'll start from Zibak of Zigrid. Apparently drivers can't join the lobby. Interesting. Arkanites, 23.6 is the best he's got. It's still a second off the rest of the pack. As they get quicker, he gets quicker, but he's not getting quite quick enough. You've got to find a little bit more pace. The answer to that question would be a resounding yes, but let's put a yes in for him, shall we? Yes, let's just say yes. There we go. So Arkanites done. GR3s are done. GR1s on their way out. So 21.5 is the reference lap. Essentially, if you're in a GR1 car and you don't beat that, put down your controller, turn off your PS5, put on your comfy pajamas, and go lay down. I think even I could beat that in a GR1. Right, so last time out, the winner, D. Roberts. He is currently the lead qualifier for the GR1s, and we'll soon see a time set from him. Night Shifters out there. Wooly won last time. I apologise, it was Wooly that won last time over D. Roberts. D. Roberts tried to win and didn't, but he did qualify on pole. So there's Wooly, Justin Gant, and J-Dog. Very British lobby today, very British. A couple of Americans, Arcanite and J-Dog. What time is it there in US of A? It's what, mid-afternoon, isn't it? Something like that. Mid-afternoon, I think. Who's just gone off? That's a very interesting line through there. You're not going to be quick on that bit. And what a place to do it, because you're about to line up your lap and you've got dirty tyres and they're cooling down. Not great for your first hot lap. So hot lap ensues for Roberts, and we'll go on board and we'll see the difference in speed in these Group 1 cars, and you can see already just how quickly they're going through the corners in comparison to those Group 3s. And fourth gear through there, absolutely gripping the tarmac like crazy, down to this tricky left-hander, using all the way. In fact, he probably could have used a bit more of the road with that car. Little lift, tiniest of lifts to take you up the hill. This is where the corkscrew gets tricky in these really quick cars. You're going to have to get your braking point absolutely spot on. Pick your braking point, get it slowed down, big turn, flick it to the right hand side, and then get on the power. Don't be too eager out of the corkscrew to get your foot on that accelerator, or you will be in the brown stuff. One more corner to go. This will be the first time on the board. Will it be good enough for pole once somebody else has crossed the line? That's the burning question. Down to the line, here he goes. He was on pole last time out at Daytona. He's on pole at the moment. How long does he stay there? That was almost 10 seconds quicker than the quickest Group 3 time. So, next up. Who's next out there? Justin Gant, not quite quick enough. 1:12.5, just over half a second slower. Race predictions coming in for Dane. We've got Roberts for GR1 and Dridders for GR3. That's race finish position. We'll see. But to be fair, he picked right. He picked him last time, but it was a little bit of luck that helped him out a bit last time. But he did pick him last time, so I'll give him that bit of kudos. He did pick it last time, but then he might be fixing it. Who knows? You're not going to get a better time going like that. That's the wrong route through there. Much quicker car coming through. Move over. Let them through. Night Shifter. There he is, currently sitting P3 on that second row. We're still waiting for Wooly to settle up, and J-Dog. J-Dog with a 41.0 invalid lap. Wooly with a 48.5. That wasn't a very, very good lap. Clearly some mistakes made there. And again, kicking up the dust. This is a tricky circuit for these Group 1 cars. It's much more suited, I think, to the Group 4, Group 3s. And yeah, you got very lucky, mate. We'll see how you get on this time out. But Group 1 cars around here, who's to say they're not a little bit of fun? The corkscrew relay has got to be pretty scary in these Group 1s. I don't think I've ever raced a Group 1 around Laguna Seca, apart from on iRacing, but I don't think that counts because it's a very, very different animal, iRacing. So we're waiting to see if Wooly can improve on that time. He's looking pretty good. It's a 1:11.9. It's certainly not quick enough for pole this time out, but it's certainly going to improve on that 1:48. Is he good enough to get onto the front row at all? No, he's miles off. So he's still got, that's 8 seconds he's got to find from somewhere. Sorry, back in a sec, folks. You're right, Class C. It is a little bit laggy. The lobby's a little bit laggy in places. It's not just the broadcast, it is the lobby, to be fair. You said Wooly was going to be P1 at the end of this lap. That's not the case. 1:16.6. He's not finding anywhere near the pace that he demonstrated at Daytona around here. He's got significant time to find. He's almost 6 seconds off the pole position at the moment. J-Dog did improve, did get himself to the front row, but it didn't last very long as Justin Gant improves with that 1:11.4. 1:10.8 from Robert. Absolutely smashing this lap at the moment. On fire, man, on fire. But yes, you're right, there's a bit of lag here. It's not everywhere. Yeah, it's not every car, just some cars are a little bit laggier than others. All off the track, almost coming back on at exactly the wrong moment. Did that unsettle Wooly at all? You can see behind us, I think it's Night Shifter, isn't it? No, it wasn't Night Shifter. Right, did Wooly improve? That seems to be a better lap. That's a much better lap. That's a 1:10.6, and that is pole position for Wooly. He didn't get it the lap you thought, he got the lap afterwards. So really good lap from Woody. Pole position for him this time. Now, will it flick the other way around? Remember, he won the race. He was behind Roberts. Roberts had pole last time out. And he beat him. Is this a case of switcheroo that Woody takes pole and Roberts takes the win? The thing is going to be down to consistency. Now, if you look at Roberts' laps, he hasn't been super uber consistent either. He's had a few where he's dropped some time. So what these guys are going to clearly do in the race is they're not going to be pushing for these insane 10.6, 10.4s, 10.5s that they're trying to put in at the moment. They're going to be racing around those 111s and keeping it consistent, not trying to find those extra tenths on every corner, particularly because it's a 1 hour race. Anytime Dane says something nice about Wooly, he loses the car. Ginger sorcery. Right, so Wooly on pole, not long left now of qualifying. He's got 2 tenths over Roberts and Night Stalker there on row 2 with Justin Gant, and J-Dog from the United States is 7 tenths back in 5th position. We do have a couple of cars that missed out on qualifying from a disconnection, but they'll be set at the back of the grid. Obviously the group ones with the group ones and not behind the group 3s. That would just be insanity. Time for one more lap from a couple of these cars, maybe. That's certainly not going to be quicker. You can see that it was just kicking up a bit too much dust on those few corners there to have improved on that time. But it's I say that, and then he goes sub 110. So he clearly found some time there. I wasn't expecting a 109.6 from Wooly. Phenomenal lap, and that is 1.1 seconds quicker than Roberts put in, and he's actually quit to the pits for the rest of this qualifying session, so he's not going to better that. What about Night Shifter? Has he got something in the tank? He's done a 111.3. Last lap was a 21.2. This is his last crack of the whip. He's already past that qualifying time, so he's not going to get himself on that front row. He's not even going to improve on his previous time, so he will qualify in 3rd. Justin Gant with an opportunity. He's finished now. He's not going to improve either, and neither is J-Dog, because he is also done qualifying. So that's how they will line up. Wooly from Roberts from Night Shifter, Justin Gant and J-Dog. Then we've got Smithy, Fast Portuguese, Class C, Gikella, Ridders and Arcanite in the Group 3 cars. So everyone that's sitting in the pits just needs to edge forward, get across that line, so the lobby can end and we can get cracking with some racing. That is the one downside with sitting in the pits to the end of qualifying, is you extend the time people are qualified for, unless it's an absolute plan, so you can go and have a pee and a poo and a smoke and a drink or whatever. Talking of a drink, have a little swig now. So next week, we will be doing, it'll be dual comms for both lobbies, and we'll be doing side by side with the GR1s and the GR3s, so you'll be able to see action from both. You'll have full screen for some action, but you will also have split screen for the majority of the event. We'll see how it works. if it doesn't work so well, then we might go back to full screen like this. I think it depends on how people are watching it. If you watch it on your phone, you're probably not going to want too much side-by-side stuff because you're not going to see much, but we'll see. We will work on it. Can't beat a SIMSA Sunday night. I suppose you can if she were blonde and her name was Helga and she had questionable morals. Right. I don't know why I'm going into practice. No one cares about practice. We've got to set this grid by host, and then we'll see. So who didn't qualify? So who's going to be sitting at the back? So we've got it'll be William Roberts, Night Shifter, Justin Gantz, and J Dog. They'll be your front five. Can't remember who else was in the group ones that we missed. Fast Portuguese. We lost him, didn't we? I know he was. He's a GR3. That's why. Right. Okay. Everyone's going to check in now. I can mess with them, couldn't I? And I'll check in and see if they set me on the grid. I'm sure they're not going to miss that. So there we go. Cornelio, the Mexican driver. He will need to be set. Spots. He'll sit behind the American driver, behind J Dog, in 6th place in his Group 1 Porsche 919. Silly question. There's probably an answer to this somewhere in the Discord, but I'm inherently lazy and I won't read it. Why are all the Group 1s only in the 919 hybrid and everyone else has choice of car? Or is it just the way it is? It's like that, and that's just the way it is. Yesterday, Doggy had there was a doggy issue, so he ripped his claw out somewhere, and it was absolutely pissing with blood stick, so he had to go to the vets. It was it's, I don't know if you know how dogs' claws operate, but they're connected directly to the bone and nerves. So when he caught it and pulled it out, he ripped it out at its root. So it basically went straight through to the bone. So he's got painkillers and antibiotics now. He's back at the vets on Monday just to check for infection and stuff. He's already fucked his bandage off on his stupid mushroom head thing because he's a little prick, a little expensive prick at the moment as well. But that's what happened yesterday. So Sauber Venom in the 650S will go at the back of the Group 3s. Cornelio from Mexico in the 919 will go back of the Group 1s. So Dane, Dane, you've already made your prediction, mate. You can't change it. You picked Roberts and Ridders, but it's we'll see. It's a long race. Many things can happen. The grid doesn't look right at the moment. Why are we... What's going wrong? Yes, the grid is being set. Just waiting for that to happen. Anyone that's interested in Saturday nights, you may or may not know we've got the Alpha Series currently going on a Saturday. Which is what Stig was talking about. Only a couple of rounds left in this current series, but we do have coming up in a month's time the Icon Series, 4 races back to back over 4 weeks, 1,000 miles of the 4 most iconic tracks on Gran Turismo 7, in some really iconic cars as well. It's going to be a very awesome 4-race series with a lot of driving, clearly. Oh, he's a little prick. Don't worry about him. I'm joking. No, he's all right. You wouldn't know today there was anything wrong with him. He's running around like an absolute nut job. So you wouldn't even know he got hurt. We've got a Belgian Shepherd or Belgian Malinois, and she's all right. She never gets sick. She's a trooper. And then my daughter's got Dashhound, who has spent more time at the vets than he spent in the bloody house so far. But it's one of those dogs, isn't it? Dachshunds tend to be quite inherently sicky dogs because they're little yappy bastards. Yeah, I'm not a big fan. I prefer big dogs to little dogs. I think little dogs have their place, and that's in a lady's handbag at the back of a hairdresser's. It never ceases to amaze me, right? Though, when I was growing up, you would never see like a big burly man with a beard walking a chihuahua in the park. You know, he'd always have like a Rottweiler or a Staffy or something like that. But now you walk through the park and like they smell of strawberry muffin from the vapes, and you know, they've got big beards and they got little chihuahuas and Bichon Frises and all that kind of thing. And I just find it incredibly odd. It just looks very weird. Maybe I'm old-fashioned. Call me old-fashioned, but yeah. Right, let's. I think the best place to look is from Smithy's perspective, and I'll tell you for why. Oh, what's going on there? For a minute there, I thought it was all going to go wrong. Yeah, the icon's looking good. If you go into the Discord, there's a lot of lag here at the start. I'm a little bit worried about how that's going to affect it. It seems to have sorted itself out. The GR1s all have disappeared. Let's go with Corneo. Oh, the lag on this is absolutely ridiculous. Yeah, I think we're going to have some problems here. Someone is using his mobile phone for connection. So, I don't think we're going to have him for very long. And no, he's already disappearing. I don't know what's going on, but yeah. Well, it says he's at the back, but we don't know where he is. Right, so everyone got through turn one relatively unscathed, apart from Corneo, who's got the connection. Yeah, there we go. It's gone. He essentially has the budget connection, which is essentially a gerbil in a wheel running around and carrying the messages in his little pouches. Better internet next time, I say. And that kind of goes back to what I was saying, that there should be a minimum internet connection quality for a lobby to be able to participate in a lobby, because the rest of the lobby now is going to be affected by that, because it's had to dumb itself down for the lowest common denominator. Right, lap one. Let's go with Group 1 cars first. Wooly leads the way at the end of lap 1. It is 1 hour of racing here. So we're going to have quite a few laps in the Group 1 cars. He's already 1 second clear of Roberts. He's on the soft compound tyres. Bring up the tyres for you all to see. There is Roberts just behind him. I say just behind, 1.1 seconds. Night Shifter taking a very interesting line through there, picking up a penalty and a lot of sand on those tyres. That's going to put him under some pressure from Justin Gantz. If he doesn't catch him before with those cold, sandy tyres, then he will catch him when that penalty gets served. He's on the medium tyres, is Justin, as is J-Dog. No, J-Dog's on the racing softs. What about Smithy? So you can see there that J-Dog 14 seconds clear of Smithy, who's in the Group 1, of course. We've lost the Mexican driver already. Now, I'm pretty sure, didn't we lose him at some stage at Daytona? Or am I misremembering? I'm pretty sure he got disconnected from Daytona as well, which says to me that there is a terminal connection issue at his end. Right, let's look at the Group 3 Classy at the moment ahead of Ridders. So at the minute, Dane's prediction is being pissed all over quite significantly. He's on those medium compound tyres. He's almost 2 seconds clear of Ridders. Although Ridder's under some pressure now from both Arcanite and Sauber Venom. He went on the brown stuff and it's put him under lots of pressure. Arcanite was having a little look up the inside, didn't quite work, a lot of lag there. Gikela involved as well. This is a great little battle going on. This is essentially the battle for second position in this GR3 class. You can see Gikela there on the back of Sauber Venom on the back of Arcanite on the back of Ridders, but very, very wide through there. Gikela unable to capitalise on Sauber Venom, taking a very, very wide line through turns 1 and 2. Is there another opportunity? It's going to be quite difficult. It's not the easiest of circuits on which to overtake. Pretty much every corner has just the one line through it. Turn 1 possibly is probably the best opportunity, or the final corner, turn 11, if the car goes wide and you're incredibly brave or incredibly stupid, one of the two. But without a gap being left for you, overtaking here is going to be at a premium. There's not really any opportunity for slipstream, even running down to turn 1. Everyone through the corkscrew again safely. It seems to be the one corner actually where there's been the least amount of cock-ups, and it's one of the trickiest corners in motor racing. I suppose if you're focusing on that one, you're you're not focusing so much on all the others. Right. Wooly 4.7 seconds clear, and he's putting in qualifying laps in the race. That's not going to be good for tyre or fuel wear, but it's a long race. Let's wait and see. Roberts is on the mediums, so there will be that disparity in speed. He's going to have that little bit less torque out of the corners, that little bit longer braking distances, a little bit later on the accelerator. So it is going to make a difference in these early stages. But he will have run the mandatory medium tyres, and that's J-Dog just breezing on through on those softs, which you'd expect to see with that tyre disparity. But of course, the softs are going to last a lot less than those mediums. Will we see Night Shifter closing up on the back of Roberts, the winner last time out at Daytona, of course? The gap is 3.1 seconds. He's going to have that superior grip, so you would have thought this is when he needs to use it. He's ahead of Justin Gant, who is currently running, he's also on those mediums, running 2.4 seconds behind. Now, he's going to want to try and stick as much as possible on the back of Night Shifter. He's not going to be too concerned with the gap opening up to sort of 3 or 4 seconds, but he doesn't want to see that gap expanding to 9, 10, 11, 12 seconds. He wants to stay well within the sort of viewing distance on those tyres as much or certainly for as long as possible. He wants to be able to breeze past when the soft tyre runners go into the pits relatively quickly, but he's already 17 seconds off Wooly in the lead. Fast Portuguese is looking pretty quick. He's looking so quick, in fact, he's ahead of Classy. Well, I suppose it's either classy if you're from the north, or classy if, like me, you are classy and you're from the south of England. But I'm going with classy because he's not from England at all, so it doesn't really matter. He is half a second behind Fast Portuguese. They're just starting to pull away now. You can see they're looking over the rear wing. That's the battle behind, essentially, for third. Smithy Ridders and et al. Behind. It's actually Smithy Ridders and one other back there. But you've got Classy. I'm going to go Classy, whatever, either way. Right up behind in that Porsche 911. You can see it is the two Porsches that the middle engine cars that didn't really have what it took, certainly at the end of Daytona, to make it happen, but looking pretty darn quick here. You can see that we are supporting a number of different charities here with SIMSA, the Martin House Children's Hospice, Autism Awareness, 22 Until None, and SANS, which is a stillbirth charity. Do feel free to check any of those out. We also support mine as well, which isn't on there, but it should be. I will make sure it's on there for next week, which is a mental health charity, very, very important, and something we actually did Black Flag. We did a charity event raising money for mine. I think we raised 1,500 quid over a number of different. I think we did four big, long endurance races raising money for mine. I think it totaled 24 hours of broadcasting over 4 events. But yeah, we raised £1,500. You can see already the Group 1 cars already coming through past the Group 3s. Now, the way it works with the multi-class racing, very simple, is the Group 3 cars have priority to the racing line, and it's down to the faster Group 1 cars to find an alternative way around. Now, of course, it will slow them down coming through because it's not the sort of racetrack that lends itself to more than one line. However, they are so much quicker, and everyone's in the same boat in that class, of course. Let's have a look down the field. That is Arcanite, currently running in third, but he's not got it all his own way. He's got Ridders all up in his business, 6/10 behind in that Lexus. He got a brilliant performance out of that Lexus last time out at Daytona, looking to repeat more of the same. Gikela dropping off a little bit now, 3.1 seconds back. Got a bit of a gap back to Smithy Jr. I'm assuming there's a Smithy Senior, the fact he's got Junior on there. I'm assuming his daddy's Smithy Senior, and I don't know if he plays Gran Turismo. Wouldn't it be cool if they did, though? Father and son Gran Turismo combo. My boy's not interested in this at all, but then I'm not interested in in Rocket League, and my boy plays that for money. So there we go. And Sauber Venom way at about 7.5 seconds down in that 650S. Needs to find a bit of pace from somewhere. At the moment in those 123s, he's got a bit of rear end damage. For I really wanted to follow that up with just like your mum, but I'm not going to, although I kind of just did. He's got a bit of rear end damage. He's in the 123s, pretty consistently, apart from that horrible 137 where he clearly crashed somewhere, which is not too shabby on the medium tyres, but he does not want to be dropping too far off the back of Smithy. Similar pace angle. In fact, he's a little bit quicker than Smithy, but that 37 absolutely killed him. He's got no damage though, so he should be able to continue with that pace. Gikela in a similar situation, 23 lows. That was quite poor lap, 26.2, but he's on the soft compound tyre, so we'll be pitting sooner, of course. Ridders on the mediums. Look at that, getting double teamed by the Group 1 cars there. One either side. Just the way you like it. And he's 4.5 seconds ahead of Gikela. Trying to close on the back of Arcanite a little bit. He's 2.4 seconds is the gap to Arcanite now. And hopefully he can pick up a little bit of brief slipstream from the Group 1 cars as they come through. And hope actually that Arcanite gets held up a little bit, which doesn't look like he has much at all. Gap to Classy is up to 7.1 of your Great British Glorious seconds. So some work to do for Arcanite, and he's on the soft as well. Classy's on those mediums. He's putting significant pressure on the back of Fast Portuguese, who's running on the soft compounds. So at the moment, Classy looking in a really, really strong position in this race, and he just, the back end, wanted to step out then, and that very nearly cost him a shit ton of time, but somehow managed to rescue it. Justin Gann is the first of the pitters to pit, if that's a thing, and that's from medium tyres. He hasn't got a lot of damage. It's impossible to restart, right? Yeah, of course it is. You can't come in on lap 9 and say it's impossible to restart, particularly when it's your connection was the problem. I don't quite understand the need to pit then. The damage wasn't that significant for me that it warranted such an early pit, particularly if you're on the medium compound tyre. You would have tried to run that a bit longer, surely, but there may be an element of strategy involved there, and he's thinking, get the pit out of the way, and that might help. But he's already 33 seconds off the leaders of this race. Talking of leader, that's where he is, 22 seconds clear, and I'm assuming that in front of him is Justin, right? It's got to be. Yeah, it was Justin Gann. It was ahead of him. I got a little bit confused because I think it says 22 seconds, but there's another car right there. He's 22 seconds clear of J-Dog. Remember, he's on those soft compound tyres. You can see the soft compounds starting to edge away from the rest, but Wooly absolutely spanking it at the moment. Spanking it terribly. Yeah, you do need to put your radar on. I don't actually know what they've got on because it doesn't tell me whether they got the radar on or not. Unless, of course, you're watching them live, I suppose. Right, so Soft's also for Night Shifter, but he's not. He has matched that similar pace, but he's struggling a little bit with a problem that I have, and it is consistency. I can chuck in 20 laps and I can get one really, really good lap, maybe. But I can't consistently go quickly, and that will always cost you racing. You can see there he's gone 110.7, which is only 0.3 off of Wooly's time, but it's not something he's been infinitely able to recreate. Some advice that I've heard, and it's advice that I give back out, not that it matters, is that when you're pushing, you're constantly, your lap time's changing significantly. There he did a 110.3, which is the fastest lap of the race. If you're finding that your lap time is not infinitely repeatable because you keep making errors, then change your expectation of lap time by a couple of tenths, and then try and make that one infinitely repeatable, and if not, then drop that by a couple of tenths until you find a race time that is infinitely repeatable, and you can do that over and over again, and then you can work on increasing that by a tenth at a time, and then making that infinitely repeatable, and then until eventually your fastest time is your infinitely repeatable time. I don't know if that made sense, but it's not advice that I tend to follow much. I think the difference is with me, I'll be brutally honest, if I raced more, I'd probably be quicker. But I you know, with everything else I've got going on, and with the broadcasting, I don't race as much as I can, as I probably should. And let's face it, I don't have. It's because of most of the people I race with are super crazy quick. It gets incredibly demoralising being last all the time. So I don't race all of that often. But it's been known. I've been doing it on Friday night lately. There we go. Right. Fast Portuguese still under significant pressure from Classy. And with Classy being on those mediums, he's not on the mediums anymore, he's on the softness. They've both been into the pits. Classy's dropping the mediums quite early on. So he clearly just followed him into the pits, which to me doesn't... Again, you know, why would you not just run it out to the end? But listen, strategy is personal, I suppose. But it's going to be difficult to have Fast Portuguese. It was easy for him, or easier for him to keep the 911 of Classy behind him when he's got slightly better tyres or slightly grippier tyres. But it's going to be a much more difficult prospect now because Classy is looking very, very racy. His fastest lap was 22.3, which I think 22.1 from Fast Portuguese. So there is the capability of Fast Portuguese to go faster. He's actually gained a bit of time there through that final corner. So that'll be the Group 1s coming through as well. Is going to have an effect on that. Arcanite has been into the pits. He's on the medium tyres, 12.2 seconds behind. He's got Ridders for company. Ridders all over him, having a little look up the inside. Is he going to be able to make the move on the old switcheroo? He makes the switcheroo down to the right-hander. On the inside, he makes the move. And Ridders up to 8th position ahead of Arcanite. And he makes that look very, very easy. Let's go on board with Ridders for this move. He goes for the old switcheroo. He lets him just move out of the way almost, and you could argue that he bullied his way through there, but the door was left open, and if you leave the door open, someone's going to say thank you very much, and they're going to come through that door, and they're going to come and steal your telly, and that's exactly what Ridders just did. He came in and he stole Arcanite's telly. Don't tell the police. I'll be rallied by, mate. So Gigela is half a second back. Another half second back is Smithy. So these guys have closed back up, and there's a good little ding dong now between these guys potentially going on. You can see here, this is essentially now the fight for what will be third in the GR3 class. You've got Smithy Jr. there right on the back of Gikela. You've got Gikela using that slipstream from Arcanite, and these three heading down. Now the problem here for these guys is that if they spend too much time fighting, Ridders is just going to disappear off up the road, and that's a little move there potentially from Smithy. Door left over by Arcanite yet again. Is he going to make the same mistake here? This time Gikela not quite close enough. Smithy not quite close enough to Gikela to make the move. Teammates of course, and there we go. Smithy much better exit this time, makes the move on their teammate. Up into 10th goes Smithy. Nearly went horribly wrong. You've got to look in your mirrors. You've got to look in your mirrors, especially when you've got the mini maps there for a reason. You've got to have a look in that mini map and just make sure, particularly with this multi-class racing, that there isn't going to be a super fast car coming up behind you. And in that scenario, there absolutely was. That could have ended up in absolute abject misery. Wooly, J-Dog, Night Shifter, all in the pits as these guys are racing for. This is now fourth, I think. I think now Ridders has given himself that little bit of a cushion over Arcanite, but Arcanite at the moment is feeling the pressure. His race at the minute is all about defend. Now again, these guys are going to get a good run on him down to turn 1. He's got to shut off that inside line. He got caught by Ridders with that following lap, Gikela almost made that move. Now it's Smithy going to have the same opportunity, looking up the inside. No, doing this time tight on the apex, but he leaves that second apex wide open. But this time defending the inside line, does not let Smithy get around there. Smithy go around the outside. Gikela getting the inside line, and here's another Group 1 car squeezing through. So dangerous. I'm not entirely sure this track is safe for multi-class racing like this. Gikela getting a run on the teammate. How about the little flip-flop switcheroo? Not happening. Has to tuck in behind. Arcanite gets a bit of a breather, albeit quite briefly, but it's going to be game on again. I think every lap we're going to see that at the same position. Again, Smithy getting a little bit out of shape. Gikela making the move up towards the corkscrew on the brakes. They're not going to go side by side. You'd have to be freaking insane to be going side by side through there, or the most talented driver in the history of motor racing. Even crazy Alonso would not attempt a side by side through there. Down to the final corner they go again. Roberts into the pits for his, I think, first stop, maybe second stop. So Gikela, great run this time on Arcanite, gets a great exit, great run on the inside. Going to block off that inside line, going to make the move before the corner into the braking zone. But look at this, here comes Smithy as well. He's got the inside line on his teammate. His teammate and him battling it out. I'm sure they're hims. Battling it out now for the position here. It's an absolute going off. So let's have a look from Smithy's position as he comes down, following his teammate past Arcanite and just out-braking them almost perfectly, but not able to get the move done. And the AMG Mercedes just using that additional little bit of power over the Lexus to get away from the corner that bit faster. But this is looking spicy. So Smithy ahead of their teammate Gikela, and Arcanite now dropping way. He's got a penalty as well. That's going to cost him some. But he's 12.0, 11.7 seconds ahead of Sauber Venom, who is back on those soft compound tires. Excuse me, I didn't mean to yawn at you. It's been a long day. Been a long day. Wooly's still out in front. He's got an entire pit stop to himself now. It's embarrassing for the rest. I'm joking. Wooly looking incredibly strong here. It does make you wonder. He won at Daytona after spinning on turn 3. Now you've got to wonder how far ahead would he have been with this kind of pace had he been racing from the front. And you've got to say as well, if a driver is this dominant, should they not be moving up to Lobby 1 maybe? Lobby 1, as you know, we had some issues with people rocking up. Seemed to feel it's that they felt the pace was beyond them. I'm going to put this out, and if this person does watch my broadcast now again, so they'll probably know it's aimed at them. I'm not going to mention them by name because I'm not going to embarrass them like that. But I will say something I saw today, which absolutely boiled my piss. Right, so they'd entered a series on a Sunday evening, not this one, a different one. And they picked a car, and then they raced in the first race, and they didn't like the car they picked, so they rage quit out of the race because they felt, I wasn't going to win, so I'm not going to play, which in itself is bad enough. But then they asked if they could change their car, to which they were told no, the rules are quite simple. You pick your car and you're done with it. There are other people that haven't raced that picked the car and they're sticking with it as well. Rules is rules. Rather than say, okay, I'll give it a go, he said, I don't want to race at the back, so I'm not going to race at all. Now, at the end of the day, and I completely understand that you want to be involved in a battle, you want to be involved in races, but somebody's got to be fucking last. It's quite simple. Somebody's going to be first, somebody's going to be last. It's just the nature of motor racing. And you know what your pace is, you know whether you're capable of putting a time in or not. If you choose to enter a series or enter a race, just at least have the decency to stick it out, and I think it shows incredible disrespect to everybody else to say, because I can't beat you, I don't want to race with you. You don't. I don't know. People that race at the front might feel differently about it, but I personally think that if wherever you race on the racetrack, if someone says I can't be bothered to race with you because I can't beat you, just it shows incredible disrespect. It actually shows a lack of class as well. But you know, each to their own. I suppose at the end of the day, it is a game, and people will play it in the way they want. But I think if all you want to do is win, then why are you racing online? You might as well just do single player and just race the AI every time, because that's essentially what the AI is for. It's there for people who don't want to challenge themselves, don't want to, you know, bring a bit of real world jeopardy into their racing. They just want to go out there and win every single time they get in the car. But it is what it is. Talking of winning, Wooly is doing absolutely that by 43 seconds. Up to lobby 1 for you, my friend. J-Dog holding on in second on those medium tyres. He's got 11 seconds over Justin Gant at the moment. So no real racing going on between these Group 1s at the moment. We hope that that later on in the race this starts to close up as the pit strategies align a little bit more. 4.9 to Night Shifter. He's got significantly more fuel, so he will be up into third at some stage when Justin Gant goes in for his pit stop. It's got to tell you what, it's tricky navigating these GR3 cars. You can see there that Night Shifter just held up a little bit behind that Porsche 911 at the moment. Does make his way, finally gets through. Dear Roberts, winner. Pole, second place in the race at Daytona from pole. Currently sitting 24 seconds off the pace, but on significantly better tyres than certain cars ahead. So, different pit strategies make for different track positions, although very nearly spun himself into the pits, and this is obviously the site of where it's very easy to do. Struggling a little bit, dirty tyres, getting it all kinds of wrong. So, Fast Portuguese still in the lead of the Group 3 in that AMG GT3, the prettiest GT3 car of all the GT3 cars. Put a pretty dress on it and call it Mama. 1.4 seconds now ahead of Glassy. Very similar in terms of tyres and fuel, as you can see, although Ridder's behind, not quite faring so well, although his fuel's in much better nick. And you can see Classy there, get it all kinds of wrong. That's going to give even more room to Fast Portuguese. Remember, the GR3 cars don't have to move out of the way for the Group 1 cars, so no need for him to go on to the brown stuff there. Ridder's 16.3 seconds clear of Gikalia at the minute. 16.3 seconds behind Classy, 7.3 clear of Gikalia, who is 12 seconds ahead of Sauber Venom. 1.6 ahead of Arcanite. Arcanite's tanked through the order on those medium tyres, but will be pitting relatively soon, probably the end of next lap, I think, unless he wants to come in now. Probably the end of the next lap to glug some fuel in and get rid of those medium compound tyres. Then 26 seconds back to Smithy Jr. He is on those racing soft stage, just come out of the pits. So he's on a different strategy to everyone around him. Arcanite actually coming in a lap sooner than I thought he would. There he is, getting rid of those mediums now. So we should see little baby Smithy Jr. going through and taking 11th place. It's going to be pretty tight. He's not in the pit box yet. Going to have a drinky. Right, that's Justin Gant in the pits from third. We knew that was going to happen. Night Shifter will come through, and here he comes now-ish. Put my drink down to a little bit too hard and not the keyboard. If you guys like my dulcet tones and want to listen to more stuff, we've got what's coming up this week. There is something coming up this week. What the hell is it? I'm sure there's something coming up this week. I'll look it up. It might be. No, it's not this. It's not this Monday. It's next Monday. So Monday week we've got. We're back with ZFS, who we did the World Series for, which finished a couple of weeks ago. We're doing some more stuff for them for a 10-round championship for ZFS Racing. Really interesting league that actually. It's an online career mode within GT7, so they operate from a website. You get ZFS credits for every race you compete in, depending on track position and all that kind of thing, and you can buy cars and sponsorships and all that. It's really, really cool little concept. It's actually where I started racing again with for a little bit. Also, we've got coming up next weekend, we've got the next round 9 of GT Alpha's International GT Challenge, penultimate round of that. He's got to do some work, mate. He's got to do some significant work. Whereas he's currently running in 6th position. So he is leading the GT3s, but he's going to have to pit soon, and they're all going to come back through on him. So what else is going on then? Obviously, we're back. Are you racing the Subaru League? Oh, awesome. So I've raced with them on a Friday in their GR4 League. I'm not doing very well at the minute. I had a DC on my first race, and I came plumb last at Brands Hatch. I hate Brands Hatch. I love it because it's a British track, and I love it. Go and watch racing there. But I absolutely bought the wrong car. I bought the Hyundai Genesis. I don't know what I was thinking when I bought it. I think it's because it was either that or a Suzuki Swift, and I won't even drive a virtual Suzuki Swift because I'm not a hairdresser or a 15-year-old boy, which is why I don't want a Suzuki Swift. So anyway, so I've been racing their Friday series. Hopefully I'll do better this week. So I've got that coming up. Obviously, we've got Alphas on Saturday. We're back here next Sunday. But if you want to hear something a little bit different, I do radio. It's not big radio. It's only a sort of local little hospital radio channel, but you can access it through your smart speaker and through the website. I've been doing a couple of weeks of a show with another guy who's been teaching me how to use all the equipment and chisel, and I will be going fully solo this week, just so they can make sure that I don't say fuck or bugger, and basically know what I'm doing. If you're bored, drop me a message and I'll send you the link, and you can listen to me for an hour next Wednesday between 8 and 9 p.m. As we know, I've got a face for radio, so we may as well put my voice on there as well. Right, let's have a full rundown, shall we? Right, there's Wooly. He leads the way at the moment. We'll go on board with him, shall we? Oh, that's the wrong button. That's the wrong one. He currently leads the way. Oh, that's a beautiful shot there coming out of that section. The visibility is pretty darn poor. You've got to admire the guys that drive these cars in real life, because they haven't got the option that we have of looking at it from a different viewpoint. This is how they've got to see the road the whole time. It's a pretty darn good, difficult way to see the racetrack. Right, but Woody leads the way. He's 48 seconds clear of J-Dog from the United States of America. Fuck yeah. He's 32 seconds clear of Night Shifter, with 11.6 clear of Roberts. Ricardo Geronimo. We'll have a look at fast Portuguese in just 2 drivers. Justin Gant in 5th. That's your GR1s. Fast Portuguese back into the lead of the GR3 class. 13 seconds now clear of Class C. They've all been in the pits and had their little boomdy. 13 seconds to Class C. 10.2 is the gap back to Ridders as he comes out of the pits. 3rd in class. 2.5 seconds to Gakela, who is 1.2 ahead of Smithy Jr., 9.5 ahead of Saber Venom. Don't know why I said Sauber Venom. Do you know what it is, right? I need glasses to do this shit, and I don't use them because I look like a twat. 6.4 seconds back to Arcanite. So Arcanite Dropper has tagged down this order quite significantly over the last few laps. We saw him up in Dizzy Heights. I think he was like 2nd or 3rd for a while, and we've just seen him get absolutely swallowed. Like I was going to say something really rude. Wow, 2 cars getting it horribly wrong there. We'll have a look actually what happened, because it looks to me that I think the Group 1 car goes round him, and I think they both get the corkscrew wrong. You see here, they both get the corkscrew going up towards corkscrew very wrong. It's before the corkscrew, of course, but they both get that very wrong. And I think it was one put off the other there. I think you can see that Arcanite got put off a little bit by that Group 1 car coming through, which was it J-Dog? I think it might have been J-Dog. Trying to work out who it is now. Yeah, I think it was J-Dog. J-Dog, yeah, he was coming through, and I think that caught Arcanite a little bit by surprise. But also, J-Dog made the move, but he missed his braking point on the way through, and being off the racing line as well. So I think it actually killed both of them a little bit and caused problems. So this is where this multi-class racing brings in that little bit of jeopardy. And you know, nobody's at fault there. It's just one of those things. You know, that of course the Group 3s have no obligation to move out of the way for the Group 1s. The Group 1s have to navigate their way around them. It's just the way it is. Some things will never change. Excuse me. So Wooly is now like 25 years ahead of everybody else. He's on lap 29. Everybody else is on lap 28. Wooly is driving his way into lobby 1. Also, I think he should be. I think he should be in lobby 1, being that kind of pace. 35 seconds to Night Shifter. No real battle going on in those Group 1s at all. There's big gaps between all of them. All the action, or any action, seems to be with the Group 2s and the Group 1s and the Group 3s trying to stay out of each other's way. I tell you what's a really good thing to do with multi-class, right? And we did this over Christmas. A little series we called War. And what is it good for? Absolutely nothing. But what we'd do, we'd have a team of 3 or 4. I think we did it a couple of times with 4, a couple of times with 3, where one of the drivers is in a Group 4 car and the others are in a Group 3. And I'm sure it's a concept you guys have seen before. I don't know if it's called something else but we call it War. And so what essentially you would have to do is the Group 4s would race to the line, and the Group 3s would do one of two things. So you would protect your teammate from the other Group 3 drivers, and B, you use your Group 3 car to take out the other drivers in the other teams. And it did prove to actually be really, really interesting. And you'd see sometimes that it's the amount of teamwork involved actually was much more important than pace. And it was teams that worked much more closely together and communicated that seemed to have the better outcomes than those that were just outright fast. It was a great level, good fun. So that's another way to utilise multi-class racing here. I think one of the best races actually was around this racetrack, just because you can punt them miles off into the sand. So at the moment, the man to beat in the Group 3 class is this fast Portuguese, who in that has got that GT3 absolutely singing like a little Tweety bird. 7.2 seconds clear of Classy in the 911. He's got 14 seconds over Giacchino. That's Wooly into the pits using his one of his free pit stops at the moment. So Giacchino is running in third. Not quite got it quite as comfortably in the GT3 as Fast Portuguese has. That's Smithy not too far behind, and they've got a Group 1 car in between them, which is going to mix things up a little bit. Is Smithy able to utilise that? Not too far back again is Ridders. Is Ridders able to find some pace now and start to close? He's on the soft compound tyres also. But Smithy will be pitting, I would imagine, somewhere in the next 4 laps. Somewhere around lap 30. Certainly lap 30 for the Group 3 cars anyway. So 2.2 seconds back to Ridders. 6.6 to Saber Venom, and 24 to Arcanite, who we saw go off the race. And there's another. Oh, what a place for another Group 1 to be coming through. You've got to back off through there. He can't be trying to go side by side. He did give him a little clump. I don't think that wasn't an intentional smack. It was one of those things just caught behind him at the wrong moment, and you can't go side by side through there. But he's going to have another go. He's Night Shifter. He'll have plenty of opportunity. He's actually going into the pits. He's Night Shifter, so that clears that problem quite easily. I did question the efficacy of this Corvette on this particular track. You would have thought American muscle, American track, it's a no-brainer, but it's not really a great car for this track. I don't find it's got the nimbility, is that a word? The nimbleness it needs. This track is quite tricky, requires some finesse, and there's not really much finesse in these American cars. They're all about big wide roads and a massive straight line speed, and it hasn't got that the back end wants to kill you all the time. You get on the power, back end wants to kill you. You get on the brakes, the back end wants to kill you. Basically, there's not a lot you can do in a group in that particular corner without it wanting to literally murder you. Right, so Wooly had his free pit stop, and then J-Dog in there in second. He has come into the pits. We wanted to have a look at his liver, actually. It doesn't actually look as bad as it did in the little mini picture. It's not that awful. It looks okay from here. The body looks a bit of a mess with the way flags on there and all the stuff bundled on top of it. You can see why from a distance it looked like a massive mismatch of colours, but it actually don't look too bad in all its glory like that. Incredibly hard cars to paint in GT7 just because of the crazy shapes on these Group 1s. We can have a closer look at the livery actually. There we go. Yeah, I take back what I said. It's not actually that bad. I just think it was the angle and the picture being really small. I think it was the contrast of all the busy stuff up the front there, and then it being less busy as you go further back. Can have a look at all the liveries actually. That's Woody's livery, and there's a couple sporting that, of course. Very similar, but quite understated there from Dauntless Racing. Night Shift, of course, that's Woody's teammate from Revolution Racing. I never used to be a big fan of the I like the kind of garish and crazy liveries, but I'm mellowing and going for and quite like the more serene, sedate, more racing car looking ones. I used to like bright pink and like chrome shit and like real need for speed craziness. Justin Gant also in that livery, of course, because they're all racing together. All right, Fast Portuguese, 3.4 seconds clear of Classy now. So the gap is closing. In terms of pit stop, it's going to be around the same time for these two, and I think this is where Classy's going to have to try and win it, because in terms of pace, there's not much that separates them. Night Shifter, I was going to say Night Shifter's quicker than them, of course he's to use a fast step race. I think between them, they're pretty close to pace-wise. 21.7 for Passport G. Classy is quite capable of putting it in those 21.9 you can see on the board. So it's going to be very difficult to close that 3 second gap, unless of course there's some sort of problem. You wouldn't want to wish a problem on the lead driver, but it's going to be a case of, if you can save your tyres and fuel just a little bit better than that car ahead, then you can spend less time in the pits. It's quite simple. Every few litres of fuel saves you a second in the pits. So a little bit of lift and coast, a little bit of studious use of tyres, and maybe, just maybe, you can edge those few seconds. And there's still plenty of time to go, 17 minutes to go before the end of this race. So we'll see. Although, you know, if you can find a consistent half a second a lap, you could certainly be putting him under pressure very, very soon. Gala for Racing Rivals, 19 seconds off the front two in this GT3 class, 4.6 seconds comfortably ahead in third. We'll be pitting though, I imagine, the end of this lap. That'll give Ridders, who's still got a few laps to go, a bit of a cushion. Now we know Ridders is more than capable of winning races. We saw that last time out at Daytona. Currently trying to find a place in that top three. I think it's going to be a bit beyond reach now, first or second, unless of course there's some sort of mistake up front. But without a steward-worthy issue or a disconnection, it's going to be very difficult for Ridders to put a change there. And I think his position he's looking for is what he's currently in now, with Gikela going into pits, is third. Of course, he will still need to pit himself. So the key here now, between now and his pit stop, he needs to put in some really, really solid hot laps, qualifying pace laps, just to try and give himself a bit of a cushion, so that when he goes in, there is a little bit, there is something there. There's something taken out of that gap. Saber Vision's going to have to go in again. He currently running 3.5 behind Ridders ahead of Gikela. Gikela now, of course, is on those medium compound tyres though, and that is till the end of the race. So that is the final stop for Gikela with those mediums. But of course, they are the medium compounds, and we know that they don't have the grip of those softs. And 28 seconds behind Saber Venom, which puts 31 behind Ridders for a top 3. Smithy is all up in Gikela's business with just 6 tenths between them. Smithy's on fresh soft tyres with a nice chunky tank of fuel, and those tyres are already up to speed and nice and warm, and I imagine Smith will be making that move relatively quickly. Pace wise, there is nothing to separate them, and here they go, he's making that move already, and actually breezed past a lot easier than you would expect. So front 2 in the pits. Fast Portuguese is out on medium compound tyres. Classy's already run the mediums and is coming out on softs, so this could be a very big change. This could be the win that Classy so desperately wanted to get last time out and didn't quite get. 1.2 seconds the gap. It is a race to the line between Fast Portuguese and Classy, and we have still got 15 minutes remaining. So about, what, 7 laps, 8 laps, so 7.5 laps, can't remember. Was it 32 laps for 45 minutes? So let's do 10 laps. 10 laps remaining, there or thereabouts. Math, it's for everybody. So Arcanite's still at the back. He's suffered a bit today. Consistency's been a bit of an issue. Pace not so much, but certainly consistency, and had a couple of offs and stuff, and it's not been a great day at the office for Arcanite, but we can't all challenge on every race. And big change from last week, because last week, of course, Arcanite was on pole at the beginning of the race. Gikela got some work to do. First, got to get out of the way though. Ridders into the pits now, as is Sabervenom. So they're in pretty similar time. Actually, the Ridders. Now that's strange. They both went into the pits. They went into the pits from 8th and 9th, and yet Ridders reached the pit box before. I think Ridders was ahead actually, wasn't it? Yeah. It is weird how they do this here, isn't it? Yeah, very weird. Right, okay, so coming out first is Ridders. Where's Gikela? Now, he's still got to come around that turn 1, but it looks like Ridders is going to come out ahead of Gikela, also on soft tyres. So that's going to make it difficult for Gikela, because they're running to the end on mediums. So it's a chance for Ridders now. Smithy, I don't think the fuel's going to take him to the end. Well, maybe. Might do, actually. He might be alright for fuel. I could be overthinking this. He might be alright for fuel to the end here. So it's going to have to take him on the racetrack. Smithy's best lap was on lap 24. It's 1:22.1. Ridders, he's been in those 23s for some time. But we know he's capable of some quickness at times. Right. Fast Portuguese is already behind Classy. Classy's made the way around and already opening up a gap 2 seconds. Just showing that sometimes patience is a virtue. You stick with the driver you're chasing. You believe in your strategy. You believe in yourself. You stick to the plan. And the plan is to bring this home now in these last 12 minutes. These last 8 laps. Classy's got to keep Fast Portuguese behind. No change in the Group 1 class. It's Wooly, who is lap clear now of everybody else. In fact, look there, J-Dog is... J-Dog, I think J-Dog, if you think we go on board with J-Dog, I think you can actually see... not so far, I think that's him just going round turn 3. Yeah, just round the other side of the racetrack is Wooly. So, and Wooly's all complete lap ahead as well. So it would take something significant, and there's a yellow flag for what? Who's dead? Whoever was dead is no longer dead. They're back on the racetrack. Yellow flag is gone. I suppose that'll bring out a yellow flag. Oh, that's a whole heap of wrong part of the racetrack. And the Group 3 car coming back on through. And now getting, of course, stuck behind that Group 3 car. Coming out of the corkscrew. But there's the move get done again there. Right. J-Dog's some way back, though. But some way back as well is Roberts from third place. So another top 3 for Roberts, but it's beginning to be a case of always the bridesmaid, never the bride, because Woolley is going to make this 2 from 2 unless something significant changes in the last few laps. Justin Gant, 4.1 seconds off the pace. He hasn't got any damage, whereas Roberts has. Will that make a difference in terms of pace? Looking at Roberts' pace, it's been flitting between 12s and 15s, really. I think average 13 mid, I think it's a good average there. Justin Gant being a bit held up here, but also 13 low, 14, 13 mid. Pace is very similar. Doesn't want to get held behind those GR3s for too long because it's going to really cost. Night Shifter, 25 seconds. Should make this to the end now. Classy is the lead GT3 car, and it's looking like a very classy display. As Woolley puts in a 109.9 fastest lap as well. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. No place in lobby 2. Get your ass into lobby 1, you quick as fuck motherfucker. Fast Portuguese is on now 2 seconds. Led this race for so long. It's got Ridders now. Ridders up into third with Smithy pitting with 9 minutes to go, and I think with a bit of fuel saving could probably have held out there. Tyres certainly would have lasted. I'm not sure that is the wisest decision that Smithy's made today. I don't know. I'm looking at the fuel. Maybe he wouldn't have made the fuel. He's driving the car. He wouldn't know for certain whether the fuel would last or not. But that's allowed a whole heap of cars through. That's Gikela is through 6 seconds behind Ridders. That's a lot hard to find trying to get in that top 3. But look at Sabervision right up there, right up in the business, and that's a mistake from Gikela. The pressure from Sabervision behind. And the mistake gets made, and Sabervision up into 4th. Can Sabervision find 6.3 seconds to give Ridders something to think about, to get Ridders him, so to speak? Smithy Jr. 24 seconds back with 5.5 back to Arcanite. Don't count Arcanite out just yet. He was some way back. If he can make this fuel last, Smithy Jr. could have an unpleasant surprise, which will be a Corvette right up his arse in the last couple of laps. He needs to keep this clean, keep that Lexus on the racetrack, and just keep a little eye in his mirror for an on-rushing Corvette in these last few laps. Sabervision closing on Gikela. Gikela getting back past again. So these two have got a little battle going on between them. Sorry, it was Ridders got through, wasn't it? So these two are going to have a little battle going on between them. Gikela seems to be dropping down through that order quite rapidly now as we get into the closing stages. And we could find that... I was going to question whether Ridders could... so Ridders passed Gikela and up into 3rd. But 23 seconds, I think the top 2 is out of reach. Classy now 9.5 seconds clear, putting down some phenomenally quick lap times in this final stages. Bear in mind, it's on the softs as well, so Fast Portuguese has got to finish this race on medium tyres. So how long can Gikela hold out in 4th? Because now Sabervision is closing fast. He's looking pretty quick as well. You have to wonder whether he can get the power of that McLaren any closer to the back of Ridders and maybe challenge for third as the race winds down. There's not a lot of time left. He's got the inside line here, heading down to turn 1. The power in the AMG on the straight is palpable. You can see as they head down to turn 1 that despite being side by side coming out of turn 11 and heading down the hill, that the AMG in that drag race just has the edge over that McLaren 650S. So you can see that Sabo Venom's going to have to kind of rely on Giacchino making a mistake or getting a little bit wrong on the power and just losing the back end a little bit, or just hoping the slipstream does enough for that 650S, but there's not many opportunities to do so. Smithy Jr. 7.8 seconds to Arcanite, and at the minute is quicker, so the gap is opening up. Right, Wooly lap 45, and that's lapping. Who is he lapping? That was Roberts lapping, and Roberts facing in the wrong direction. He has got quite significant time over Night Shifter. It's not looking good though, because he was running in third, and now he is back in fourth, out of that top 3, and that is a devastating blow for the guy who started pole and should have won the race last week. Wooly in the pits, but he does have a free pit stop. In fact, he's got 3 of them if he so wished. Well, 2.5 if he so wished. So he could actually come in this lap, do a pit stop, come round again, do another pit stop, and he would still be in the lead of this race. Maybe just going to allow J-Dog now on the same lap, although he's at the beginning of it and Wooly is at the end of it. So essentially a minute and 12 seconds. Well, it says a minute 31 there, but that can't be right. So Wooly just coming down to turn 1 now, out of the pits. He's had a little splash. He's put on the medium tyres to run to the end, and the gap will be about 1 minute. Probably 1 minute 30 seconds is probably a little bit ambitious. So Justin Gant benefits from Roberts making an absolute hash of things and significant damage on that Porsche now. So he's going to struggle now. Night Shifter into the pits right at the death here, with only a couple of minutes left to go. And the way Roberts was driving, it could have put an opportunity Night Shifter's way. But he's got a lot of, he needed the fuel. He didn't have the fuel to make it, so he had to go in anyway. Roberts is going to stay out. There's no benefit now to him repairing. If he goes in and does a repair, he could put himself into Night Shifter's sights. So although he's going to be significantly down on power, he's too far back now from Justin Gant to challenge for third. He's better off holding on for fourth, because even though that gap is 47 seconds, there's not enough time left in the race for Night Shifter to do anything about it. So he's just going to have to drive a broken car these last couple of laps. Right, Classy's made a mistake somewhere, because that's Fast Portuguese. He was 9 seconds behind him. He is now right up behind him as we go into what will be the penultimate lap here at Laguna Seca. Across the line they go. Lap 41 for these two. In fact, yeah, it will be. Having a look up the inside, Fast Portuguese makes the dive. The gap, the door was left open, and Classy said, "You can come in." Fast Portuguese on those medium tyres, they're going to struggle with that additional grip. Oh, a little touch there. Classy's got to stop and let him through. He's got to stop and let him through. He hasn't though. He's carried on. I think the stewards are going to have a look at that, because Fast Portuguese he was ahead. Yes, he was on the outside, but he was ahead of him, and that touch from Classy put him off the track. Now Classy's got to slow down. Let him through. Ridders is 18 seconds back. 16 to 15. What's going on there? It's Fast Portuguese. I thought Fast Portuguese has slowed right down then. So Ridders is 15 seconds back. It's not going to cost either of them a top 2 if Classy does the right thing and gives him that position back. Now he knows he hit him. There's no way on earth, no matter how laggy this lobby was at the beginning, that he didn't know that happened. So this is where you've got to make a decision. You've got to decide whether you want to go on and take the win risk incurring the wrath of the stewards and losing that win to a penalty, or whether you do the right thing, give the guy's place back, and then fight for the win at the end. The problem is now they're on the last lap. There's going to be no opportunity to do that. If he had done it there, if he'd waited for him there and then on that penultimate lap, let him go through, they could have raced the final lap for the win. Mono and mono. Now I think he's going to get taken out of his hand, and he's going to lose that win to a penalty on the penultimate lap, which is going to be such a shame. It's a horrible, horrible way to lose it. It would have been better to have lost it in a battle, I think. But is what it is. Right, Ritter's there in 8th position overall, but 3rd in class, 14 seconds behind Fast Portuguese. It's going to be a podium for him again, but not the win I think he was hoping for. Saber Venom did really well, get himself up to 4th position in class, but 11 seconds now off Ritter's not going to improve that. 10 seconds back to Gear Kayla. It's 6 seconds back to Smithy Jr. And Arcanite is 42 seconds down. Really having to fuel safety to bring this car home. But on his final lap, he's off the racetrack, is Willie. He's got out all kinds of wrong. The fact he's so far ahead means it's not really going to be that significant a problem. But J-Dog is actually finished now. So Willie, whatever happens, will take the win. Because J-Dog has crossed the line. Right, that's classy. Takes the win, but I don't think he's going to keep that. Fast Portuguese will cross the line in 2nd. But I have a feeling the stewards will be awarding him first place after a penalty is handed out. 21 seconds down to Ridders. He'll come home in 3rd. 3rd in class, that is, of course. 8th on the racetrack. Got enough fuel to make it. As the light just fades here in Monterey, California. Sabervision, he's across in 9th. He wasn't that far behind Ridders in the end. Smithy, that's Justin Gang crossing the line there. Where's Willie? We can't miss the winner crossing the line. There we go. There he is. There's Willie, your Group 1 winner. Around that final corner, and he was significantly ahead of everybody else. 49 laps for Woolley in this race. J-Dog with just the 48. Roberts will come home in 4th. No more podiums for him this week. 4th place for him. And there we have it. That is your final running order. In your Group 1s, it is Woolley that takes the big prize, and Classy taking the prize in the Group 3s, although there is most certainly a penalty going to come his way for that contact with Fast Portuguese on the penultimate lap. Right, there we go. Woolley from J-Dog from Justin Gant. Justin Gant with a 3-second penalty at the end there, but not enough to get Roberts back into the race. He finishes in 4th. Night Shifter finishes in 5th for those 919 hybrids. In the GT3 class, it's Classy from Fast Portuguese and Ridders. The top 3 Ridders with another podium. Saber Venom, Smithy Jr., Gear Kayla, Arcanite, and Corneo using his 3G hotspot. Got disconnected really, really early on with some insane lag. And he is a DNF for this race. There we have it. That's another SIMSA Endurance Series race out the way. Just to remind you, next week we're back for more. It will be split screen action next week from the 2 lobbies, coming live from Interlagos in Brazil for more of the same. Thank you for joining me. It's been an emotional Sunday evening, but congratulations goes to Woolley with an insane. I mean, the fastest lap. Just to put this into perspective, and this is why Woolley should be in lobby 1 next week. To make it clear, his fastest lap was 2 seconds quicker than J-Dog, who finished in 2nd. 2 laps behind him, may I add. But there we have it. But thank you very much for joining me. It's been emotional, as always. I've been Empire. This has been Black Flag Racing TV with the SIMSA Endurance Challenge, and it's been emotional.